to the wicket now and bowls, and he's bowled him.
It's going to be out, it's going to be out.
That's in the air, that's going to be caught.
And she goes aerial, she could well be caught. Oh, it's caught, he's taken it on the second chance.
Hello and welcome back to Lords for the final game of the Inter-Services T20 Championships here at the home of cricket. It is the British Army against the Royal Air Force, which is exactly the same final we had this time last year. So let's look back and see what happened.
So the Army used to the conditions today. The pitch has played quite well as Barley is out. And that one was a lovely shot by Carmichael through mid-wicket.
And it is from the brilliant end. That's in the air, that's going to be caught.
Bowling to a leg side good. Oh, he's got it. He's appealing for something.
Yes,
That's the end of Harrison being bowled.
And this one, it's gone high in the air. I think this is going to be out. It is indeed. The Army have won and are the winners of the 2022 Inter-Services Tournament. A pretty comprehensive victory.
So both teams with one win apiece in this year's Inter-Services T20, and as the players are out behind me, we'll go and watch the action. The Army, the reigning champions, they won the toss and they elected to bat. Enjoy.
And Barley is quite late on that shot and he's a little bit cramped for room, and he plays that from the crease and squeezes that with a crooked bat out into the offside. There's no run. Next delivery is wider outside the off stump. That's cut to point. That's a tumbling stop in the point region, but Barley has enough time to run to the other end to get the Army off the mark. So he has one off his second delivery. And it really is very pleasant. I would never have believed when I looked at my weather app as recently as midday that we would have some of our most pleasant weather of the day now. This next delivery is played straight back to the bowler as Fletcher is well forward. How good was Fletcher earlier? He was responsible for a superb direct hit to run out Streethen, I think it was. Streether. This next delivery is played out into cover. There's no run. Harrison doing the fielding in that region. It's a bit of pressure fielding in that region because the boundary is so short. It's about half the size of the boundary on the other side of the wicket. This is driven straight to long on. The fielder is deep, so the batters will have plenty of time to go through for a single. So both these opening bats are off the mark. They've got one apiece, two without loss, 5 deliveries into the first over. As Shorthouse runs up to the wicket now and bowls. This is a little bit faster, a little bit flatter, and that's squeezed down to third man by Barley. A single is taken, and that's 3 without loss. Good over there from Shorthouse. It's always a little bit more difficult, I feel, to start your innings with pace off the ball.
Yes, absolutely, and it was a very controlled first over from Shorthouse. Bowled very well.
There's plenty of chat out there, isn't there, from our spectators. We've got a fair number of spectators in the grand and tavern stands to the left of our commentary position. I'll just take the effects mic up for you a little bit so you can hear that. I should mention that we are broadcasting not only from the Lord's website, but also from the Forces News YouTube channel, which is bringing, in addition to our commentary, live pictures, so you can get a much closer view of the action. And it's going to be McCabe is going to bowl the next delivery, and he is coming in from the pavilion end. Fast bowler. This is short and wide, and that's pulled round the corner down to fine leg for 4 runs. Lovely shot from Barley. Quite a loose delivery there from McCabe. Very leg side, and That ball sat up quite well. I think, if anything, this pitch, I know it's a new ball, but I think this pitch might have quickened a little bit as we've had a bit more sunshine upon it.
Possibly. The sun is shining down now, and you just cannot afford to go down the leg side here with that short boundary.
So something to think about for McCabe. We do have a slip in position now. That's Shorthouse, the RAF captain, has moved into first slip now, as McCabe comes up to the wicket now and bowls, and this is short again, and that swung in front of square this time, and that ball's gone for 4 more, and this is too short from McCabe, and Barley is having plenty of time to get back and across and punish these really quite short and wayward deliveries.
Yes, and he is a very, very strong batter, Baron Barley. As I said, it was a little early, out a little too early in the previous match.
Pressure on McCabe to adjust his length here, and this is still a little bit back of the length, and it's driven through the covers this time, and that's going to be 4 more. So a little fuller, but width outside the off stump, and Barley's able to hit through the line of the ball and make it look very easy.
He did, and interestingly, the distance to that boundary is probably double the distance to the short boundary here, and none of the fielders even bothered to move. It was that well hit a shot. That's
always been my cue to see how well the ball's been timed, how little time the fielders have to react.
Yeah.
If they barely move, then you know they've timed it very well.
Absolutely.
Right, there's going to be a little bit of a halt in play. We're going to have a change in the field, so we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fielders saving one on the offside. So there's pressure on McCabe not only to bowl a little fuller, but to try and keep to an off-stump line to protect that shorter boundary. This is just stroked very, very gently to point by Barley, where it's picked up by Harrison. And there's no run. Barley, I mean, he's got such a good eye, he pretty much just played that from the crease at the last possible moment, just tapped it to point.
Yes.
And here is McCabe. This is his 5th delivery, and an expensive over really, and this is a swing and a miss outside the off stump. And I think Barley's just trying to be a bit too ambitious, because that was an attempted drive through cover to a ball that was actually a little bit too straight for the shot, I think. And there's no run. The sun is really glinting off the bat of Barley here at Lord's Cricket Ground. And this really is a very pleasant late afternoon here at Lord's. This is tapped behind point. He wants a single, but Fletcher has sent him back, and the return throw is sharp. And Barley has to dive to make good his ground. I don't think the single was on there.
No, it wasn't, and I think if that had been a direct hit, then it was touch and go.
Over bowled, 15 for none, and Barley putting pressure on himself a bit unnecessarily there after a bright start.
He's on 14 already, having just faced 9 deliveries, so no need to do anything silly if the Army are to do what they did against the Navy and win this match as well. Don't forget, they are the defending champions. They won last year.
That's 5 fielders on the offside for Shorthouse, who begins his 2nd over from the nursery end. This ball is hit straight back to him by Fletcher, who is well forward and across to drive. No run. Next delivery is a little bit quicker, and this is hit to mid-off, where it's picked up inside the circle. Watson doing the fielding there at mid-off. Ash Watson, he's a sergeant. Shorthouse up to the wicket now and bowls. Slightly quicker delivery. This is a little bit straighter and worked onto the mid-wicket region by Barley, who takes a single to McCabe fielding there at mid-wicket. We've got two wickets in various stages of preparation next to the one that's being played on. I can tell you that one of them will be for the university match. That's the Oxford and Cambridge match tomorrow. This is wide, a little bit wide of off stump, and Fletcher is forward, and he almost falls over himself, and he has to use his bat to steady himself as the ball goes through to the keeper. This next delivery is driven straight back to the bowler, and there is no run. And Shorthouse is bowling a good over here. He's this is a teasing line outside off stumps, well flighted. He's varying his pace well. This is hit straight back to him as well, and there's no run. Good over here from Shorthouse. He's only gone for 5 off his 2 overs. I wonder if McCabe will bowl again, who went for 12 at the other end.
Yes, I must say Shorthouse, although he's a slow bowler, he does bowl it at quite a pace.
Yes.
So the batsmen don't get much of a chance.
I remember when Anil Kumble was bowling for India, and he bowled at a pace that was a little bit quicker than your average, well, quite a lot quicker in fact. And some of the Australian batsmen used to play him as an in-swing bowler rather than an off-spin bowler.
Yes.
It is going to be McCabe to continue, so this is his second over coming in from the pavilion end, and that is launched over mid-wicket for 6 by Barley. Still bowling short. And that was leg side, and that was a beautiful swing of the bat from Barley, who made that look so easy. It was almost guided away from the middle of the bat, goes into the upper tier of the tavern.
They have got the ball back, luckily. For a minute, I thought we were going to need the box of used balls to come out of the pavilion again.
Well, we had one roofer, didn't we, if that's the right expression, bounced off the roof of the tavern stand, landed on the concourse. This one has been hit in front of square, and that's a couple of bounces as the ball goes into the tavern stand for 4. That was launched over the mid-wicket region by Barley. He's really got some strong, powerful strokes on the onside, and I'm afraid McCabe is bowling to Barley's strengths at the moment. Needs to bowl a fuller length and to push it out to the offside. At the moment, it's either too straight or too leg side.
It's very difficult, isn't it? Because Barley is in incredible form, and
McCabe to Barley. And this is a mistimed drive. The ball's gone straight up into the air. It's on the offside. It's going to be taken at cover, and that is 27 for 1. Shorthouse taking the catch at cover. The ball was in the air for a long time. He had plenty of time to get underneath it, and fortunately there was no danger of losing the ball in the sunlight because there's quite a thick cloud cover on top of us now. 27 for 1, and a whirlwind innings is over. Just the 13 balls faced. Barley goes for 25.
yes, I mean 25 off 13. He was playing very well. One wonders whether he needed to just be so aggressive, because he was batting so well. The ball was up there a long time, so it was a good catch by the captain, Shorthouse.
Well, I think it's always a bit more nerve-wracking as a fielder when it's in the air for a long time and you've got a bit more time to think about it. I think, intuitively, I think the reflex catches are easier in the sense that there's less pressure on you. Lesporis is the new batter for the Army. That's Keddy Lesporis, private. And he's come to the crease in the 4th over.
Probably do McCabe's confidence a bit of good, because he was obviously being hit all over the place. I mean, he's already conceded 22 runs in an over and a half. I think that will give him some confidence. A new batter at the wicket.
Yes, it's just threw that drive a little bit too early, I think, Barley, and that's why the ball went so aerial. He was trying to get it straight to dissect mid-off and mid-on, and if he'd pushed it down the ground, he could probably have got an easy couple, but he put a lot of loft into the shot and was through it early.
I get the feeling he's that type of player.
Yes. And here comes McCabe now, bowling to Lesporis, who is forward to defend into the offside. And that ball's picked up on the green strip. And I wonder if underneath that green cover is the Oxford-Cambridge strip for tomorrow. Oh, well, I think the amber nectar might be flowing, Avinash, because there's some vociferous cheering coming to the left of our commentary position in the tavern stand over there, and possibly the mound. As McCabe bowling a much better over this time round from the pavilion end bowls, and this is work behind square on the leg side by Lesporis, who's well forward. He has his first run as the ball is picked up at square leg by Shorthouse. 28 for 1. One delivery remaining in the 4th over, and this is a bright start from the Army. They started at, but they were at 7 and over quite early on in their innings against the Navy, and they looked as though they would coast past 150 before John, I think it was, who did a double strike, removing both set batsmen. about 5 or 6 overs before the end of the innings, but they still made 145 and batted very well. This next delivery is worked up to mid-wicket, where it's picked up by Shorthouse very sharply indeed, and he threatens a return throw to the batter at the non-strikers end. That's Fletcher, and that's the end of the 4th over. The Army are 28 for 1. The 1 wicket to fall, that of Barley, who was caught by Shorthouse off a lofted drive off the bowling of McCabe.
Yes, I think Barley will be a bit disappointed with losing his wicket like that, because they were going so strong. McCabe was all over the place, he was dominating him, and from there they're now 28 for 1.
Shorthouse to continue, so this is his 3rd over. He'll only have 1 more after this. I wonder if he's just going to bowl his 4 overs in the one spell here. Still 5 fielders saving 1 off the offside. We have a short mid-wicket and a square leg, as this ball is played out defensively into the offside and Shorthouse fields off his own bowling. The fielders in the deep are long on, and we have a deep mid-wicket on the much longer boundaries on the leg side. This is driven, it's gone high over mid-off, hasn't quite timed it, but the ball still trickles over the rope for 4 runs. Nice shot from Lesporis. He was through the shot maybe a little bit early, but he got plenty of elevation on the ball. Nice high elbow, and he has his first boundary.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a bad ball from Shorthouse. Did very well, Lesporis.
So a little bit of pressure on Shorthouse's bowling for the first time in this innings. This is a well-flighted delivery which is driven into the covers, and it's picked up inside the 30-yard circle, but Lesporis has time to take a single, and the runs are ticking over quite nicely for the Army here, and Shorthouse has plenty to think about in these later overs. This next one is driven, it's just cleared mid-on, and that ball goes all the way through to the boundary. That wasn't far away at all. Ash Watson was fielding in that position, and Fletcher had just enough on it, just missing the fingertips.
I mean, it would have been a very good catch. It was hit quite hard, and it was just a bit.
Yeah, not by much. I wonder who the tallest fielder out there is, if it would have gone to hand for him. And this next delivery is a little bit quicker. It's hit straight back to the bowler, and that's a tumbling stop to field by Shorthouse off his own bowling. This is a really competitive exchange here between Shorthouse and Fletcher. Army 37 for 1. This next delivery is squeezed behind point, and that's a really well-timed stroke from Fletcher. He's going to pick up a boundary just behind point to move into double figures. He has 10 off 12 deliveries, and at the end of 5 overs, the Army are 41 for 1. And I would say they have had the better of the early exchanges so far.
They have, and I think that was an excellent late cut by Fletcher. I mean, the fielder had no chance at all, and it really wasn't too far away from him, but the timing was exquisite.
Yeah, plus you've got a bit of assistance from the slope going in that region, haven't you?
Yes.
So we've got a change of bowling here. This is going to be Pearce. He's taking over from McCabe at the pavilion end. Kieran Pearce, he's a sergeant, and this is his first over in this competition for this season at any rate. And he's going to be bowling to Lesporis. 4 fielders saving 1 on the offside, as Pearce comes up to the wicket now and bowls, and this is hit through into the cover region, and it's picked up. He's out. Yes, the ball was in the air for a while. I thought that was going to bounce in front of cover, but that was picked up by Blake, I would think just below knee height. That was a good catch, because he might have been unsighted briefly. There's quite a lot of sunlight over his head at the moment. That was a really good catch and a crucial wicket there from the RAF. Just checking the early progress made by the Army in this innings so far, 41 for 2.
Yes, so Pearce has had early success. I'm not sure again whether that shot was necessary, because there was just no danger at all, and it just went straight down the fielder's throat, really. Yes,
the ball was sweetly timed, but unfortunately it was almost laser guided to the fielder. I thought it was going to bounce in front of him, but it just carried a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. And that was a good catch, not a particularly easy chance by Blake, who took the catch there in the deep cover region. And so that sees the end of Lesporis.
Incoming batsman is Oscar Polk.
And our new batter is Kolk, who we know can strike the ball very well, don't we? Oscar Kolk, I believe he hit the first 6 of the innings for the Army, didn't he?
That's right, against the Navy. Yeah, he's a good batter.
So Pearce has struck with the first ball of his spell. Kolk is just taking his guard now. Now we have a mid-off, mid-on cover point. This delivery is outside the off stump, and Kolk allows that to go through to the keeper, Adam Sutcliffe, and there is no run. We've got a backward square leg and a deep square leg, short mid-wicket and a mid-on. Here is Pearce running up to the wicket now and bowls. He's got quite a slingy action, and Kolk plays that defensively onto the offside. It's quite a slingy action, and he's bowling it quite wide of the crease, and he's flighting the ball quite nicely here. .41 for 2 as the Army seek to retain their title. They've won this competition the last 3 years in a row. This is stroked very attractively through the covers by Kolk. He gets off the mark with his 3rd ball, and the score moves on to 42 for 2 in the 6th over. And here is Pearce again, running up to the wicket now, bowling wide of the crease to Fletcher, pushing that ball out wide of off stump, and Fletcher's not tempted into a cross-batted swipe or a drive.
I'm a little surprised that the umpire didn't call that a wide, actually. It was very close to that blue line.
It did look a little bit wide to me. He's obviously under some pressure to keep to an off-stump line because of the short boundary on the leg side. This is wide of off-stump as well, but it's certainly in the slot, and that's been hit through mid-off, and that's a good tumbling stop by the fielder to prevent the boundary, because that ball was struck very hard by Fletcher. So just a couple of runs added there. Fletcher moves on to 12, and at the end of 6 overs, the Army are 44 for 2. The wickets to fall: Barley, who was caught by Shorthouse off the bowling of McCabe for a whirlwind 25, and then Lesporis, who was caught by Blake in the covers off the bowling of Pearce for 6.
So the question, I wonder whether Shorthouse will finish off his spell and take his 4th over, or save himself. I think he's saving himself for the end, because
yeah, that's a change.
yeah,
It's going to be Ash Watson. Sergeant Ash Watson is going to take over.
I think that's the right decision by Shorthouse, because he does have a lot of control about his bowling, and it may well be necessary at the death.
Yes, I think you've got to have a few options for your death bowling. And this is outside off stump. It's hammered down to long off by Kolk, and he's struck that very hard. That ball goes to the mid-off boundary for 4 runs. That ball's picked up just in front of the mound stand, and Kolk is away. 48 for 2 the Army now, and they're in the 7th over, so they're making good progress here. Run rate just below 8 currently. This next delivery is squeezed into the mid-wicket region defensively this time by Kolk, as Watson changes his line, bowls a little bit straighter. Watson up to the wicket now and bowls. This is a well-flighted delivery, and it's hit through the covers, and that's gone all the way for 4 runs. A nice flow of the bat there from Kolk, really sweet timing, and he's got off to a bright start. He now has 9. He's only faced 6 balls, and that brings up the Army 50 in 39 deliveries. Now Pleasure back on the bowler here, as this is an attempted reverse sweep and an appeal for LBW. The umpire says no. The ball's picked up from around the corner by the keeper, and that was an eventful, what we say is an eventful dot ball.
Well, we've seen Kolk do this in the previous match. He's capable of very hard hitting.
And here comes Watson. This is his 5th delivery, past the umpire now, and he bowls, and that is hit into the cover region. That's picked up just in front of the boundary, just in front of the scorer's box, which is underneath old Father Time to the left of our commentary position. 53 for 2. And Watson, he's gone for 9 off this over so far. This is the last ball of his first over, and this ball is a well-flighted delivery just outside off stump. It's played to Shorthouse in the covers, and that takes us to the end of the 7th over. The Army are 53 for 2. Colk has 10 off 8, and Fletcher has 12 off 15.
Yes, I think the Army would be happy with their position. They've got a few more runs on the board, having lost those 2 wickets. 53 for 2 is acceptable, I suppose. Colk is obviously the danger man, and he's on strike again.
It's going to be Pearce to continue. This is his second over. Pearce, of course, striking with the first ball of his first over. He's coming in again from the pavilion end, and this is driven to wide mid-off by Colk, where McGeorge picks up the ball safely, and there is no run. And the RAF will be hoping for a couple of quiet overs just to get that run rate down to 7 or just below if possible. That squeeze between cover and point, that's a really nicely played shot there from Colk. It's not quite going to have the legs to get to the boundary, but he'll have time to run 3 as the ball is picked up by Sam Beals just at the deep cover point boundary. And this is good batting from Colk. He's seeing the ball well, he's playing it late, and he's got good timing and good placement really from the start of his innings.
Yes, he's playing with great confidence.
And the pressure is on Pearce as he bowls his next delivery. This is hit through the covers and it's picked up just inside the 30-yard circle, but Colk still has time to run through for a single before Harrison can get the ball back to Pearce, as the Army move on to 57 for 2. We'll have a changing commentary at the end of this over. Avinash will continue. Pearce coming up to the wicket now and bowls. This is driven into the covers. The ball's just been squeezed past the 30-yard circle, and Colk will run through for a single. And you can really see the confidence of this Army unit, because even with the 2 early wickets, they're batting with such confidence as a team, and they're attacking the bowling with such confidence that they can rebuild quickly and arrest any gains made by the RAF at this stage in the innings. As Pearce runs up to the wicket now and bowls, and that was a loose shot from Fletcher, who was looking to defend outside the off stump, and I think the ball actually beat the inside edge as it went through to the keeper, Adam Sutcliffe, Corporal Sutcliffe. And there's no run, so a little bit of control returning for the RAF. Pearce has gone for 8 runs so far, and he's taken 1 wicket, that of the Sporis, for 6 earlier in the innings. And this delivery is driven straight back past the bowler. That's dissected mid-on and mid-off, but it will be cut off a couple of yards inside the boundary, and that restricts it to, did they take 1 or 2? Just 1 run. 59 for 2. Good timing there from Colk, but just the 1 run. Good fielding there in the deep. And at the end of the 8th over, the Army are 59 for 2, and after a few more words from Avinash, I will hand over to Niam Radia.
So the Army going well, 59 for 2. They won the toss, decided to bat, probably not least because in their last match against the Navy they were fielding second, so probably a bit tired. But they're going well at 59 for 2, 8 overs into the match. In comes Watson from the nursery end, slow left arm round the wicket, and there's no shot offered to that. The score remains, it's actually 60 for 2 now. 4 men on the offside, 1 on the boundary, and the other 3 backward point, cover point and extra cover. A long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, and he comes again now, and that ball is played straight back to him by the batter. Niam, welcome back.
Thanks very much, Avinash.
This next ball is again watched carefully by Fletcher and played straight back to the bowler.
I don't think the weather can make its mind up today.
Next delivery is pushed out into the covers, fielded by the man coming in from the boundary that extra cover, and they would take a quick single. The score moves on to 61 for 2. Kolk has scored 14 off 11 so far, and he faces again. And this next ball is on a good length, and it's just pushed back to the bowler to field off his own bowling. Halfway through the 9th over, slow left arm bowling from Watson. Good quality slow left arm bowling in this over. He's bowling very well.
He's been really tidy this over.
Yeah. So far he's conceded 11 off the first over and a bit. And he's played and missed and bowled. Kolk has been bowled by Fletcher, by Watson rather. Deceived in the flight, charged down the wicket, missed it completely.
Great delivery. We said that he was bowling well. It was nice and flighted, encouraged Kolk to come down the pitch.
He drew him forward, and then just got deceived in the flight.
That's the sign of any good spin bowler.
So 61 for 3 the Army now, in the after 9 overs completed, and I think the Navy will, or the RAF rather, will take confidence from that, because Kolk, Barley, all these strong Army batters, they've seen off. Fletcher, of course, remains at the crease, and he's going to be joined by Boynton, who I think also played very well in the last match.
Boynton, I believe, is the captain.
Yes, he is.
Of the Army side. Left-handed bat under Ben Stokes' van.
So he joins Fletcher at the wicket. Fletcher is in fact going to be on strike, because that was the end of the over, and Fletcher is facing Pearce, who is bowling from the pavilion end. Left arm over the wicket. This ball is driven into the covers, and the fielder running in from the extra cover boundary fields, and there is just the 1 run. Sun slightly gone behind the clouds again. Score is 62 for 3. And Boynton comes on strike for his first ball. Left-handed batter, of course, so the field adjusts accordingly. We've got 4 on the offside saving the single, plus a sweeper on the extra cover boundary. On the onside we have a long on mid-wicket and a deep mid-wicket. In comes Pearce, just pushed out onto the offside, and there is no run.
Pearce, who's a cricketing hero, is Darren Gough. And you can kind of see it in his action.
Yes.
I know he's a left armer and Darren Gough was a right armer, but you can kind of see it.
Yes, he's modelled his action on him. The backward point has moved onto the fence, and the ball goes exactly straight to him, so that was good captaincy to move him back there. 63 for 3. Fletcher, right-handed Fletcher on strike now. He's got 16 so far off 22 deliveries. He's going to be facing Pearce, who's coming in now. Left arm over the wicket, past the umpire now, and that's driven into the offside. Not the best timed of shots, but that's not going to make it to the boundary. He's heading towards the third man boundary. Fielder from backward point runs across and fields. It slowed down considerably. It wasn't the best timed of shots. 66 for 3. Boynton, who's 1 not out, comes back on strike at this nursery end. He's got 2 balls left in this over from Pearce. In he comes now. That ball is driven straight past the bowler, and the fielder from the boundary at mid-on comes and fields, and they take a single. Score moves on to 67. Fletcher on to 19. He's batting very well, 19 off just 23 deliveries. Last ball of the over, which is tickled round the corner, fielded by backward leg, short leg, and there is no run.
We'll be able to hear the crowd, which is gathering to our left-hand side from our commentary position here at the media centre in the tavern and mound stands. And it's good to see that the crowd has been out in force today.
Yes, they have indeed. A lot of supporters from all the services personnel, and in fact a lot of more members now in the pavilion as well. You can see maybe people coming in after work or something. So 10 overs completed, 67 for 3. The left-handed Boynton is on strike, and I think he's not so far batted from the pavilion end, so he's going to take a fresh guard from the umpire, and it's going to be Watson to continue from the nursery end, his third over. So far he's conceded 11 runs from his first 2 overs, but crucially he's taken 1 wicket. In he comes now, left arm over the wicket, a sweep shot there, which the fielder running in for a backward point comes and collects, so there's no run there.
You'd expect with that shorter boundary being on the leg side for Boynton, he'll try and take advantage of that this over. Let's see.
Yes. And that's hit straight back at the bowler, but there's a bump ball, so there's no question of a catch or anything like that. Good length from Watson. Slow left arm over the wicket to the left-hander. And he comes again. And again, the batter is deceived by that. Just hits his pad. Muffled appeal from, I think, the wicket-keeper, but nobody else really interested. 67 for 3 remains the score. Getting through his over very quickly, Fletcher, and this one is driven onto the leg side. They take a single. Ball goes straight to the fielder on the boundary there. It's such a short boundary that just time for a single, no more. Fletcher moves on to 19, the score on to 68 for 3. Watson comes in for the penultimate ball of the over, and that's just played out onto the offside, and there's no run. Really hear the buzz of the crowd through our effects microphone. Last ball of the over, which is an identical shot, and pushed it out onto the offside, and they run across for a quick single.
They've almost tried to play quick cricket on the offside. As soon as they hit it, and if it goes to an offside fielder who's in the circle, they run.
Yeah, and I think that's such a clever tactic because it keeps the score ticking along.
But also what it means is, as a bowler, you need to be on your toes, because if the ball goes anywhere fieldable for you, you run and go and get it.
Yeah.
Which might then protect the single.
And also, by taking these singles, they're constantly, the field is constantly having to change left-hand, right-hand batter, so it's a little disruptive as well. Change of bowling from the pavilion end. It's going to be Blake coming in to bowl. He looks like a left arm over the wicket bowler, and he's bowled that down the leg side. In fact, the umpire has called that a wide.
This is James Blake of the RAF Akrotiri, who plays his club cricket for Lingfield Cricket Club.
Lingfield, sorry. So he settles down and comes in again, left arm over, and that's a better line. It's on the stumps. It's taken. He's out, caught on the boundary there at mid-wicket. It was up there for a long, long time. It was a straight ball, which the batter lofted into the air with a shot. I'm not so sure that ball was there to be hit there, but he did anyway. And it was at one stage we thought it had gone across the boundary, but it must have been up there a long time. But anyway, he's out. 70 for 3.
I think we've seen that as a theme of today.
If
for
that,
4 rather, I should say. It was 3, so it's 70 for 4.
If that leg side boundary is the shorter boundary, the batter will try and work the ball over to that side, and that's exactly what Fletcher tried to do. The ball was, as you say, probably not the right length to be able to do that. Must have hit a bit high on the bat. We can't see from our position up here because it's so far away, but nonetheless the ball was floating in the air and well caught by the fielder at deep mid-wicket.
So now the Army are 70 for 4, and we're only in the 12th over.
We have 2 new, relatively new batters at the crease.
Exactly. Narayan is the new batter coming in. I'm just trying to remember how he did in the previous match.
This is Denson Narayan.
He's from Grenada. His all-rounder, his highest score is 158 not out, so he's no mug with the bat. Drives that first ball that he's faced into the covers, and the fielder from mid-off fields that. There's no run. Lots of chatter amongst the crowd and the fielding team encouraging each other. I'm sure that wicket will have helped them. A wild swipe at that next ball, which I think is actually declared a wide by the umpire. Yes, it is. Didn't make any contact, and they run through for a bye.
Bit of a wayward one there from Blake.
But I think all of the bowlers in their first over have been a little taking their time to get their line right, without exception. I suppose the only person was the captain. He was into it straight away. So Blake goes back to his mark, and the left-handed Boynton is having a good look at the field that's been set for him. In comes Blake, left arm over, and that's guided down to the third man area, where it's fielded by the fielder coming in from the boundary, and they take a single. That will bring Narayan, who's still yet to get off the mark. He's going to be on strike, right-handed batter, and he's going to be facing Blake, who comes in now from the pavilion, left arm over. That's flicked around the corner to the same fielder coming in from that boundary.
That was Kieran Pearce picking it up from the fine leg boundary there.
And they take a single. So Narayan is off the mark. The left-right combination means that the field is having to change again, because Boynton is on strike at this end now. 2 balls left in this over from Blake. In he comes, and that ball is cut into the offside for 4 runs. A well-timed shot through that short boundary. It didn't really go that far past the fielder, but he had no time to move simply because it was such a well-timed shot.
Short and wide outside the off stump,
Yeah.
and the slope's moving that direction. We've said that quite a few times. It just allows that left-handed batter the freedom to swing his arms.
So let's see what Boynton does with this next one that's coming in from Blake. The last ball of the over. He probably wants to retain strike, and he does. They take a single because he flicks it in towards mid-wicket, and he will keep the strike. Score moves on to 79 for 4. Boynton is 9 off 10 deliveries, and Narayan is 1 not out. And he gets Boynton gets a big pat on the back from Narayan, saying, "Keep going, you're doing really well."
You would assume.
I'm just reading the body language.
It would be cool if we had them mic'd out. Well, we don't, unfortunately.
Another change in the bowling. This time it's going to be Harrison coming in from the nursery end.
This is Jack Harrison of RAF Cranwell, who plays his cricket at Appleby Frodingham Cricket Club. Looks like a right arm over bowler.
Yep. So it's now 12. big appeal on that one, and the umpire gives it. He's out. Boynton is out leg before wicket for 9, and in fact this is the 13th over, which means that at the end of the last over I should have vacated my seat, and this is probably a good opportunity for me to do that and let Terry come in. So 79 for 4 after 12 overs. Boynton has just gone out on 9, and Narayan is there on 1.
That was the big one. That was the one that they wanted. Boynton is the aggressive batsman. He's the one that could have taken this innings forward. He had already been in for 11 deliveries. He was looking relatively settled, especially with that boundary in the previous over. But nonetheless, tried to play that one across the line. And was given out leg before wicket. And Jack Harrison, his first delivery, gets a wicket. As I welcome Terry to the commentary box.
How are you?
Very well, thanks Terry. How are you?
This afternoon, together.
This is our first stint, exactly.
Thanks for having us. And, much like the previous match, it could be a tight one. You fancy the Army, obviously because of their record, but run rate being pegged at 6.5. The RAF are in this.
It's that wickets column that we've got to keep an eye on. Right, we have Dearden, who has come in. He is a right-handed batter, batting from the pavilion end, and this is Harrison who bowls. Full toss and pushed into the offside. That takes Dearden off the mark immediately. That'll make him a happy man. It's always nervous waiting on no runs.
I have 2 new batsmen at the crease. They're wanting to dispatch one of these in short order.
Harrison runs in, 3rd ball of his over, nice and full, and just defended into the offside by Narayan. Only goes as far as mid-off. So the field we've got a backward point. We've got a point, we've got a deep cover, a mid-off / extra cover, a long off, long on, mid-wicket, deep mid-wicket, and deep backward square leg. As Harrison continues, it's nurdled into the leg side, goes as far as the fielder at deep mid-wicket, and it's picked up, and they run through for a second. That was really good running, really hard running from both these batters.
Well placed into the space to maximise that. Good positioning.
It was indeed. The Army now 82 for 5. The RAF have bowled resolutely this innings as Harrison continues. Nice and full again, and just pushed into the leg side. No more than a defence from Narayan. Takes his total onto 3.
I think Narayan tried to mimic the shot he did before into the backward square leg region, but not straight at delivery.
He can see the big gap backward of square on the leg side. And I think he's trying to nurdle the ball there. But here we go, Harrison runs in again. This one's slightly shorter, but again defended and picked up by the fielder at mid-wicket. And that'll bring an end to the 13th over. The Army now 82 for 5. Harrison will be well pleased with that over.
Just 3 runs from it, but then it's pegged the run rate back a little bit more, 6.3 and over. And if you can keep the Army to that sort of run rate, it gives them a real chance.
Now the weather overhead, we've got sunlight from our right, and we've got cloud cover directly above us. So
I've sort of given up trying to predict.
Me and you both, Terry. It's rainbow kind of weather.
I did say that I wasn't very good at predicting weather, and so it's proved.
We have Blake continuing from the pavilion end, left arm over the wicket. Nice slingy action, and this is pulled way into the leg side by Dearden for 6 runs.
Full toss
into the mound stand. That was a hip height full toss, pretty much over the stumps. He saw it early and he latched onto it.
Just as we said that they were pegging back the run rate.
Blake to continue. Bounds in. This one a better line, better length, outside the off stump. They've run through for a single. That's out. That'll be given.
That was a risky single at best. Punished in the same way as the loose ball was punished Two balls earlier, or the ball earlier, and that was punished. Unnecessary single, I think.
He knew it as soon as he entered the crease. I think he knew he was slightly late on that one, and he continued
running in the right direction at least.
Exactly, he was running in the right direction towards the Allen stand where the rest of his teammates are. It was an unnecessary run.
And having just dispatched the ball for 6, it's probably going off thinking that that's a bit of a waste.
One would assume that they are trying to keep the scoreboard ticking, and there was a gap at deep cover, and what he wanted to do was to push that ball out there. But what he ended up doing is in not quite executing the shot. It went directly to mid-off, and the run-out opportunity was there. But nonetheless, did and is dismissed for 7 runs off 3 deliveries after hitting a 6 the previous delivery. That takes the Army 88 for 6.
And Hawksworth comes to the crease.
And Narayan will stay on strike. And the new batter is Aidan Hawksworth, and we'll come on to him in just a second as Blake continues. This is just pushed into the leg side, but no runs will be given. That was a straighter delivery. And Narayan gave it the respect that I think it deserved.
Oh, I feel buoyed by that, having 2 wickets in short order. It's swung in their favour at the minute, I'd say.
Here we are, Blake to continue. This outside the off stump, and just again didn't quite connect to that one. Hawksworth.
It's a bit like one of my golf shots, nowhere where it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Nowhere near where it was supposed to be. Same sort of distance as well, really.
Okay, Blake to continue. This one straighter and pushed into the leg side. That should run away for 4 backward of square.
Line just straying, little flick down the leg side. You understand there, no chance at all.
It was one of those again that didn't require too much work. It was pretty straight, just needed guiding in the right direction.
That's a 12-wicket shot from Hawksworth.
I tend to think they've actually got the wrong batter on strike. This is Narayan on strike, and now they've run a single, so it will be Hawksworth on strike. That's an extra single to Narayan's total, not to Hawksworth's total, so I think the scoreboard's a little bit incorrect in that sense as well, but that was pushed into the offside. They did run through for a single.
I'm not entirely sure we trust the individual scores on that scoreboard at the minute then.
The reason I say that is because it was number 23 on the back of the red shirt, and number 23 is Denson Narayan for the Army, who inspects the pitch. And
probably should be on 7 runs rather than 3 has been attributed to in the scoreboard.
I would agree with you. But now we have number 8, the bowler, with the dark blue shirt, running in. This is Harrison. Outside the off stump and cut away, but only as far as deep backward point. They run through for a quick single, and they managed to get there successfully.
Throw probably went to the wrong end.
It did.
Although it's easy for us to say up here, I guess.
And this will bring Hawksworth on strike. Number 2 on the back of his shirt. 94 for 6 is the score. Hawksworth scratched his guard. And here we go, Harrison to continue. This one full and straight, and just pushed to extra cover, no run there. Now the field we've got is a short third man, backward point, deep cover on that short boundary, an extra cover, a long off on the offside. Harrison to continue. Trundles in, straighter, and this just pushed into the leg side. Misfield from the fielder at mid-wicket. They think about running for a second, but I think rightly Narayan pushed him back. And they only get the single. That takes the total to 95 for 6. And this brings Narayan on strike, not Hawksworth, so the scoreboard is telling us fibs, but that's okay. This is straight and just pushed back to the bowler by Narayan. The field on the leg side, we've got a long on, we've got a mid-wicket, a deep mid-wicket, but well in front of square, almost in a cow corner position, and a fine leg, about 10-15 yards off the boundary rope. as the bowler continues. This down the leg side, and it goes to that fielder at fine leg, who collects and with his left arm gives it a nice big throw in, one bounce to the keeper.
I'm loath to say it because it might be a commentator's curse, but it's a good over so far from Harrison.
It is a good over.
It's two good overs. Should this one not be dispatched?
Final ball, he runs in for about 16, 17 yards or so. This one full and straight and just defended, and that's gone through the gap past the left hand of the bowler and too long off, and they run through for a leisurely single, and that brings an end to the 15th over. The score is 97 for 6. Now, I'll be honest with you, it does say that Narayan is on 5 runs off 9 balls and Hawksworth's off 7 off 7, but I don't think that's quite correct, because there were a few issues identifying which batter was which.
I'm almost certain that Narayan should have 3 more runs than that, possibly even 4 actually. Hawksworth 4 less. But I think that will only be rectified at the end. I think it's too late to do anything about it at the minute. So
I think it's just rectified. Sorry to interrupt you, Terry. So there we go, Narayan is now on 10 runs off 13 deliveries faced, and Hawksworth 2, and Hawksworth is now on strike against a new bowler who is Tusif Ahmed of RAF Brides Norton. Plays his club cricket at Horspath Cricket Club. He's a right arm over bowler, bowling from the pavilion end as he runs in. Nice skiddy run up, and that's a bit of a wristy drive, but only goes back to the bowler, so no runs off that delivery.
Certainly not where he was intending it to go.
Again, a big gap, a deep cover towards that long boundary. Nonetheless, Ahmed continues. This one outside the off stump, shorter, and he was able to kind of punch that one away to that fielder at deep cover, who throws it in to the keeper, and the ball makes its way around the field once again. Now that short boundary now is on the leg side of the right-handed batter, and Narayan is now on strike, 10 runs off 13. The score is 98 for 6. Ahmed continues from the pavilion end. This one outside off stump, and they cut it away backward of point to the short third man fielder, and they run through for a quick single.
Yeah, the Army's struggling to get the gaps and find the gaps. Pretty much every shot's going towards the field placements, which you have to give the RAF credit for, of course.
Halfway through Ahmed's over. So far so good, only the 2 runs off it so far. As they tinker with the field slightly, that fielder at short third man has gone back towards the boundary rope. Ahmed continues. This one straighter outside the off stump and heaved into the leg side to the long on fielder. Wasn't particularly well timed, so it's only gone for the single. So again, 3 runs off the over so far, but that does bring up the 100 for the Army.
Not sure what their pass score would be from here.
5th ball of Ahmed's over. He runs in. This is cut away into the offside, but again, not particularly well timed by Narayan. Only goes as far as the fielder at point. Again, you mentioned it yourself, Terry, that the gaps there are backward of point and in front of point on the offside.
He's not able to find it at the minute, at least, and with just 4, there's 1 ball left.
Here we are. Narayan continues. This outside the off stump, collected by the keeper well, and he went for the stumping, but to no avail, because Narayan was well within his crease. I think he was slightly disappointed with himself there.
Good first over from Ahmed, though. Just 3 runs off it. And the RAF will be hoping that that continues for the remaining 4 overs. And will keep the score to an achievable 1-0 feel, the RAF. Although the way that the Army bowled against the Navy, who knows? Have Hawksworth facing Harrison for Harrison's 3rd over. Welcome Avinash to the commentary position. He bowls. Hit firmly enough down towards long off. Scamper through for 2 to make a total into 102 for 6. Welcome, Avinash.
Thank you, Terry. I mean, the Army will be disappointed with this score at the moment. They've got to try and get the next 4 overs to count.
Harrison in again, up to the crease, he bowls. Just swipe at that down the leg side, which
Wide.
Hawksworth makes no contact with it all, but that's because it is a wide. So Avinash says. And a single to the total. Back to his mark. A longish run up to the crease. So this time good contact. Hawksworth back towards long off once more. It's an opportunity now from deep cover. Just a single. Taking moves on to 104 for 6. And now at the crease. 11 of 16 currently as Harrison comes in and bowls. Paddles that in the corner towards point. Scampers through for a single.
I think the fielding has been really sharp. They're just not letting anything go through. And that in turn then puts the pressure on the batsman.
Harrison in again to the crease and bowls. And, firmly struck by Hawksworth. It's in the air momentarily, but will drop short with that sweeper in front of the grandstand. Picked it up with deep back of square leg, throws it back. Not before. Just went through for the single. Didn't risk running on the throw. And it was quite a deep position it was coming in from. So Hawksworth will face Harrison for his 5th ball of the over. It's firmly struck again, this time towards long on. There is a fielder there, and they will try and scamper through for 2 on this occasion, almost running into each other. And the massive pigeons that were in their way. Safely through though.
Yeah, the 2 batters nearly battered into each other halfway down the strip.
Hawksworth moves on to 11. Score 109 for 6. 11 off 10. So that moves up to 6.5. The last ball of the over. Harrison comes in. Balls punched away towards mid-wicket. No run there.
Yeah, that's very good fielding. So 109 for 6 at the end of the 17th over. Hawksworth on 11 and Narayan on 12. And Ahmed, who had a very, very good first over, is going to come on to bowl from the pavilion end. He's just conceded 3 in his first over. Having complained about the possibility of rain all day, I can tell you that we're now almost blinded by the sun. We can barely see out of our commentary box without sunglasses.
Well, a moment ago I just put my sunglasses away. I didn't need them. I wished I hadn't now. Its first delivery is clubbed away.
Beautiful drive.
Fine shot. In front of the pavilion, over the rope.
You could probably all
moves on to 16.
You can probably pick up the applause on our sound effects mic. That's a long boundary when you're batting at the nursery end to hit it for 4 through long off.
We'll face ball again. Again he clubs it in the same direction. This time it doesn't. Fielder down there at long off. They still scamper through for a couple. And then moves on to 18 with 19 deliveries. And you get the feeling that the run could be important to the Army score here. As he faces another delivery, and this time slams it away. Absolutely lashes that through deep mid-wicket and gets another boundary. Really showing his intentions here, Narayan.
It's actually a 6, I think.
Was it?
Yes. I think the umpire was
lost that in the sun, I assume.
Well, I think the umpire was waiting for clarification from the fielder, who's just confirmed to him that in fact it was a 6.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I should hold my hand up to my eyes like you're doing. I should. I should never have guessed. There's a 6. Narayan moves on to 24 of 20. Army comes in for his fourth delivery, just outside, off stump, too far outside, and signal as a wide.
So it's nice to hear from you, ball by ball at mcc.org.uk. I've just had a message from Dr. Patel in Northwood telling me to put my sunglasses on.
Another shot going towards long off again. And it's going to push through for two. He moves on to 26, and the score to 124 for 6, which is looking a lot healthier than it did
Just
only
two overs
ago.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And I think Narayan is the significant difference. He's come in and he's really taken this by the throat.
And again, bowls. And this time's the shot really. So it squirts out towards a square leg, or maybe deep square leg, and just the single on this occasion.
The problem is that on that short boundary on the near the mound stand, even if you mistime a shot, it's still going to get you a run or two.
And we only have one person patrolling that boundary,
Yeah.
which is a little risky. That's exactly the direction where that shot from Hawksworth has gone. And only the one man on the boundary is not stopping that, and it's 4 runs. Takes over Hawksworth on 15 at the end of that over. Narayan on 27, and it's 129 for 6.
So 2 overs to go. 129 for 6, the Army. Don't forget they are the reigning champions. Won last year and the year before. Narayan is on 27 not out. He's going to be on strike. And he's batting at the pavilion end. And Watson, who's bowled very tightly, slow left arm over the wicket. Oh, and that's nearly a caught and bowled. Narayan hit that straight at the bowler, who seems to have hurt his hand actually in trying to catch that. He's just fallen to the floor, clutching his hand.
It was a sharp chance. And
it was, and I think the umpire
I think there's
calling for medical help.
Instantly clutched his hand off to trying to take that catch, and then obviously what he saw didn't please him very much, and the pain kicked in.
I think what must have happened, it must have just caught.
Immediately one of his teammates and the umpire signalled for the medics to come on, so you get the feeling that there may be a piece of his hand that should be facing in the wrong direction potentially.
The way he went down, I'd be very surprised if he actually can carry on.
Judging by the indications immediately from the field and the umpire around him,
and I think
that
what
would be my guess as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the doctor from the RAF team came on straight away, but I can now see some medic from the pavilion coming out as well.
Don't get me wrong, we're talking about the armed forces personnel here, so you wouldn't be amazed if he didn't carry on, if he did carry on rather. And, but the instant reaction on the field looked worrying.
It was hit back very hard
point of view.
by Narayan.
We had to go for it because it was a sharp chance.
It would be a shame if he had to go off, because Watson has been bowling really well. I mean, he's in his final over, 3.4 is it that he's bowled so far, and just 13 conceded. 3.1 and just 13 runs conceded off that. So he's done really well.
I do worry for Watson, but it's quite a serious injury to his hand.
Well, I think given the amount of time he's been on the floor, I just can't see him carrying on.
He's sitting up now as Watson, which is good to see. Still being attended to by the medics there.
Have you got any medical training?
No.
No.
The only I've probably had pretty much every injury known to mankind, so that's my only experience in the medical profession, is that I've had most of them.
Well, the good news is that he's on his feet, but I think he's going to be helped off the field.
Yeah. Painful.
I can't see how he can carry on.
I think it might also be his bowling hand, which would matter worse.
Yeah, it was his left hand. And a nice warm round of applause for him as he leaves the field of play from all parts of the ground.
Yes, I suspect he won't be shaking too many hands in the near future. But joking aside, that is a painful blow for Watson. We wish him well. Hope for speedy recovery.
Yes, bit of ice on that straight away, I should think. Just hope it's not fracture. But anyway, 129 for 6. The match at a very, very interesting stage. Just under 2 overs to go. And Narayan, who's really firing on all cylinders, is 27 not out.
The RAF have decided who's going to bowl the remaining 5 overs. 5 balls, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if the captain brings himself back on, because he bowled very well in his first
right as well, actually. It does look like it's Shorthouse.
Does it?
One on his back.
It is Shorthouse, isn't it? Yeah. So Shorthouse is going to come on from the nursery end. Oh, and he's bowled him!
Well, that's not a bad introduction. And the dangerous Narayan departs.
He does.
But, I mean, a change of bowling at short notice.
I mean, Shorthouse did actually bowl really well in his first 3 overs, and I think we discussed at the time that he was probably going to save himself till the end because he's such a good bowler, and he's just delivered. He's just got rid of the danger man just as the Army were looking like they were going to get back on form. So 129 for 7 now.
Well, the pressure was back on the RAF for a while there. The run rate had crept up to just over 7 and over.
Yeah.
With that dismissal.
So 10 deliveries left. 129 on the board. Narayan's gone, and Hawksworth will now become the senior partner on 15 not out. Let's see who is joining him.
Well, I was going to say Blackburn, but every time his name appeared, he moved further and further down the list, so we're not entirely sure. Schofield or not.
Well, it's a left-hander, whoever he is. And all of a sudden, the dark clouds
Schofield,
are gathering, not just in a meteorological sense, but in a cricketing sense as well. Anyway, Schofield it is. He's on strike from the pavilion end, has a good look around, has a big swing, and the ball comes down beneath us here to mid-off, and they cross for a single.
A good over. It's already been a good over from Schofield, but if he continues here and pegs the Army back in this over, then I feel that they've gained the upper hand momentarily.
In comes Shorthouse, right arm over the wicket. That's hit straight back at him. He dives to try and field it, but it goes past him. And the fielder from mid-off rather, fields 1 run onto the board. This next one is pulled onto the onside, straight to a fielder. The batter's crossed for 1. There's a suggestion of a second. And I think given that they're 7 wickets down, he's wisely sent back by Hawksworth. Not least because Hawksworth is the senior partner now and the batting should be with him. And this next ball is swept out onto the onside. And there is no run. And I think that should be the end of the 19th over. It is indeed.
One run short of completely is one ball short of completely is 4 allotted overs, because coming in to replace Watson, who went off injured.
Yes, so it looks like Ahmed will finish the bowling for
Looks like they're changing the bowling. Pearce.
Oh, Pearce is coming in.
Looks like he's
yes.
coming back in.
he bowled very well. I think he 3 overs for 15 runs.
I suppose if you're the RAF, you can keep this score under the 140 mark. You'll feel they're in the game. It's been a fairly low scoring afternoon here at Lord's.
Yes, I mean anything near 140 could possibly be enough. It's 133 for 7, and it's going to be Hawksworth on strike at the nursery end, and Pearce it is who's been brought back for the last over of the innings, left arm over the wicket, and this ball is dispatched straight into the boundary through mid-wicket, 4 runs.
Well, I was about to say I was a little surprised that the RAF didn't put more fielders on that short boundary, but that wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever. Hawksworth absolutely hammered that.
He did. Picked it up very quickly.
3 square leg.
137 for 7. And a fielder is brought from the boundary to the short third man area for a slice or an edge, I suppose. And this next ball, Hawksworth has a big swing at, misses it completely.
I love the reaction from
And it's a
Hawksworth as
dot ball.
he made the big swing, looked straight at the umpire, said, well, the only reason I missed that, it must have been wide.
Yeah.
Which the umpire completely dead-faced. Had no reaction whatsoever.
Pearce comes in again, and this time he steps across and hits that for 6 runs over wideish long on. That's a long hit there, even though it's a short boundary, but that part of the boundary is longer than the rest, and he knew what was coming. It was going to be another ball to the right hand side, so he took a step to the right and then sort of Vivian Richards style just dispatched it to the boundary. Tries to do the same on the next one and misses it completely.
Good ball to recover that.
Yes.
Wide, but
It's 143 for 7 with just 2 balls left in the innings for the Army.
almost a York. I wonder if that will Pearce probably thinking this one up the stumps.
Pearce comes in now, and this is a cut shot into the offside. They have to go for the second. They do, and he's going to be out. Yeah, he's going to be out.
Well, they had to go for it.
Yes, I mean, you can understand at this stage there's nothing to be lost, but he's run out, and the last batter makes his way to the wicket with 1 ball to face. And I wouldn't now be surprised if the weather plays a part in this, because all of a sudden,
dark cloud above
yes,
us right now.
we're completely covered in dark clouds.
Sort of cropped up from nowhere, that cloud.
Mm.
And, be interesting to see what the DL method shows when RAF bat.
I'm sure
it's probably about a par score. I mean, given the scores that we've already had this afternoon, if
yes.
2 balls left,
Yes.
well, sorry, 1 ball left. Anyway, if it's a 4, so just short of the 150 mark. But
Yes, I think that's been more or less there or thereabouts all afternoon, hasn't it?
so again,
So
it'll
it's-
come down to how well the Army bowl.
It's Benson who's coming to face the last ball of the Army innings. And 4 fielders on the boundaries, and everybody else just saving the single.
And there's a new batsman. Benson to face. So, no time to bed in, he's just got to go for this.
Does look a little nervous, I must say. In he comes now. Has a big swing, and that's going to be 6 runs over mid-wicket. A super shot by the number 9 batsman. You've got to admire that. He really picked that up quickly. And what it means is that the Army finish on 150 for 8. And I think under the circumstances, that's quite a respectable score. Schofield finishes on 2, and Benson 6 runs off just the 1 delivery that he faced.
Scampering off into brilliant to get James. just another shot, thank you very much. Dispatching it into the mouse stand for 6.
So it's a fascinating stage that the match has reached. The Army 150 for 8. They go and have a quick cup of tea, or probably not even that. They'll be out again very shortly. I'm going to have to leave now. We're going to go off air. And for the final session, which will be the RAF batting, it's going to be Just, Nib and Terry. So we're going to go off there, and we'll see you all shortly.
Our chosen champion for the 2023 season is 9 veterans UK, which have decision-independent services and women rebuild their lives after sight loss by providing rehabilitation, training, practical advice, and emotional support to veterans, no matter how or when they lost their sight. Please give generously when you see one of the many collection boxes here at the ground today, or via the QR code on the match day program. Thank you.
Well, we have a thrilling final on our hands here at Lords for the Inter-Services T20 Championship. The Army have battered and they have scored 150, and the RAF, it's up to them to come out and better that if they want to be champions. The Army, of course, remember, are reigning champions. I have with me an amazing player for the Royal Navy captain, Ben Johnson. And I know this is a really difficult position. I spoke to you on Friday after a loss against the RAF, but if I can say, and I hope you don't mind me saying, you guys really showed up today against the Army, and you really sort of solidified your reason for being here. Are you proud of the way the boys played today?
Yeah, I think we played some really good cricket. Obviously, it's a game that can go one of two ways, but unfortunately we didn't get over the line today. But no, I'm really proud of the lads. I thought we put in a good performance, and just couldn't quite execute our skills, but
But you did it the right way round. You had your game against the RAF in Portsmouth at Burnaby Road with not many people watching. You come to Lords and you shone, you really did. And we didn't know until the final few overs who could win that game. So I think the Royal Navy have got it, and you'll be there for years to come, I'm sure. Yeah,
I really do believe that we're going to start winning games consistently very soon. I think we've got a really strong side, stronger than it has been for a while. And I think we've shown great character to come from a tricky loss and to really put, like I say, play some good cricket today. I
don't want to make you embarrassed, but you talk about that spirit, the sort of determination on the pitch. You really lead from the front on that. The way you celebrate wickets, the way that you bowl, the way that you lead your team out there. Was that really important that you did it on the big stage as well? Yeah,
you always get a bit passionate when you're playing at the home of cricket. So if the lads can follow that, I'm happy.
And what's it like? We've talked to a lot of people today about the beauty of playing at Lords. Is this as good as it gets in terms of cricket?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you kind of have to take a moment to take it all in, and then you get your game head switched on.
Now, you're in the privileged position of having played now the RAF and the Navy this year. Can you make any score predictions? I mean, 150 is a pretty good pass score on the board for the Army, and they were, really batting it out of the park at the last few overs there. Make any predictions for us? Which way would you say it would have gone before they started playing?
I think it's difficult to predict, but no, I think with the short boundary and the pitch is playing really well, you'll have to bowl well to defend 150. So if they get a few key wickets, either the captain Shortall's a good player, same as Fisher. If they take some key wickets early, I can't see why they can't defend it. But then again, you can score runs quickly. So the game could tip at any point.
The weather might be a factor. It's been a bit of a worry, hasn't it? But it's the greyest we've seen it all day.
Yeah, it's got quite dark, but there's a little break in the clouds. So hopefully there's a conclusion to the game.
Well, listen, thank you, Ben, and thank you for still having a smile on your face. And I'm sure it's just the occasion has just been very enjoyable for all of you. So thank you very much to Ben Johnson, and we do hope that the weather stays good for the next hour and a half as we see the final play out between the Army and the Royal Air Force.
As you can see, the weather is deteriorating. In the event that we do not get
Welcome back to Lords on this what was a sunny Wednesday afternoon. It is Wednesday afternoon. I'm almost forgetting my days. I'm Niam Radia, and with me in the commentary box is Terry Smith.
Looking forward to this last innings. Let's hope that the weather behaves itself as it has done up to this point. And a few nervous spectators who have sort of moved backwards in the mound stand just in case.
Just as a reminder of the first innings of this game between the Army and the RAF. The Army scored 150 for the loss of 8 wickets, with a few batters getting into the 20s. 25 for Barley, 20 for Fletcher, 27 for Narayan. But nonetheless, no batter really able to progress and take them over that 150 mark, but they did really well to get there. Yeah. So
I think to give RAF credit for their bowling performance, but we saw the way that the Army dispatched the Navy.
To the left of our commentary position in the mound and tavern stands here at Lords, we have plenty of people who are all getting up and seem to be moving under the covers, or under some kind of cover behind at the back of the stand, which we can't see whether it's raining, and obviously we're inside so we can't feel it either, but that does make me a little bit nervous.
There's no Brawley's gone up, but people are scampering towards the back. I don't know if that's in anticipation or it's actually raining, but clearly not enough to stop play at the minute. No hint of the covers coming on, although the ground staff are hovering.
Nonetheless, we have Tom Shorthouse, the RAF captain, in to bat, whose cricketing hero, by the way, Terry, is Paul Collingwood, specialist fielder, but also a bit of an all-rounder himself. So Tom Shorthouse is in. That's Corporal Tom Shorthouse of RAF Wittering.
I might ask you who your cricketing hero is.
I would have to say the late, great Shane Wall. I
guessed that from our conversation earlier, shouldn't I?
I was a leg spinner growing up, and it makes me sad to think about it. But nonetheless, the umpires are out. Both teams are out here at Lords. For those of us, or those of you joining us on YouTube at Forces News, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you. And for those of you joining us on the Lords website, it's a pleasure to have you too. And if you want to get in touch, please do email us ballbyball@mcc.org.uk. We also, by the way, to our right, have some suited and booted guests in the boxes under the grandstand.
This is the President's Suite box. They've extended the mornings, the morning comes for the more in anticipation. Well, actually more in hope than expectation, I suspect. At the moment, at least, because distance away from the sunshine. Let's hope we're some distance away from the
Let's keep our fingers crossed. So 151 to win for the RAF. And it looks like we have the Captain Boynton for the Army. So that's Jonathan Boynton, who is bowling from the pavilion end. And facing will be Tom Shorthouse, the captain from the RAF. So here we go, captain to captain. The field on the offside for the right-handed batter towards the longer boundary. Yeah, everybody's inside the 30-yard circle. And here we go. Boynton to bowl. That's straight, and that's gone through. But it's collected by the keeper, and nothing happened. It went perilously close to the stumps. And there was a big appeal, but nothing actually happened in the end. It was a
Boynton is not entirely sure how they missed the stumps, I think.
I agree, a dot ball. Here we go. Boynton to continue, slightly shorter, and it's just pushed into the leg side to the fielder at deep mid-wicket and thrown in to the keeper. And that takes the RAF and Tom Shorthouse, the captain, off strike. And the other batter that we have in is Tasif Ahmed of RAF Bryce Norton, who's also a right-handed batter. Scratches his guard, probably around middle and leg, I would assume. This one's straighter, just pushed into the leg side, and I wonder if he got a little nick on that, but that goes towards the fine leg region, the vacant fine leg region they run through for a single. I didn't see...
There's no signal.
A signal.
So he must have got something on it.
So he must have got something on it. There we go.
Surprised a little by the speed of the ball that came in. Fizzed that through Boynton.
RAF now 2, no loss of wicket. This one outside the off stump and driven firmly. That runs across the square here at Lord's towards the grandstand. Plenty of cheers in the crowd, and the umpire wags his hand from left to right to indicate a boundary.
Cracking drive to the point front of the grandstand and timed that to perfection. Sure makes that shot.
He really did. That was slightly full outside the off stump, and Shorthouse thought, I'm going to have a bit of that.
Positive start.
So just the one fielder, oh sorry, 2 fielders outside the 30-yard circle, one at long on and one at deep mid-wicket, protecting that short boundary in front of the tavern stand. This one's straighter, slightly shorter, just nipped into the leg side, and the non-striker has run about 5 yards out of his crease. There's backing up and there's being overly zealous.
He almost could have shaken Shorthouse's hand as he turned back to get back to his crease.
And he scampered in. Here we have Boynton to continue this over the offside, over extra cover, and that took a couple of checks as it bounced. This might run away for 4. I don't think it will. They're going to run through for a 3rd. That's really strong running from the RAF openers, and that takes Shorthouse to 8. That takes the RAF to 9 off the first over.
Well, we're taking a bit of a gamble there, but nobody patrolling that boundary in front of the grandstand. And yes, it's a big space. Twice there, Shorthouse in that direction. That's right, the boundary set one for a 3. So I wonder if they'll change tack next time around.
I guess it's also a bit of an invitation. You know, we're a spinner. Try and hit me over the infield.
Well, maybe they're inviting them to gamble with those shots and hope that they can pick up a mistimed one and bag a wicket. Shorthouse denied them that opportunity in that over.
And we
so
have...
We'll try and do the same, I suspect, because there's still nobody patrolling that boundary.
The second opening bowler for the Army from the nursery end is Schofield. Nicholas Schofield, left arm over the wicket, pushed into the offside by Shorthouse. That's collected very strongly to a diving deep cover fielder who picks it up on the boundary again. Now the offside to the right-handed batter is the short boundary, and of course the slope is moving in that direction too, and the natural angle of the left arm over bowler is down to that side too. So that was well driven. This brings Ahmed on strike. This one's straighter, just pushed into the offside. They run through, and Shorthouse there was quite intelligent. He managed to get himself between the bowler and the ball, so the bowler couldn't reach the ball to run him out.
Is that a tactic normally?
It's not one that I was ever fast enough to get to. Here we have Shorthouse continuing, and Schofield from the nursery end just defended by Shorthouse back to the bowler.
Good fielding of his own bowling there from Schofield.
It was. Schofield reminds me of a bit of a Sam Curran type. Not a particularly long run up, probably about 15 yards or so, I assume. Not a particularly high bound either. That one just pushed into the offside, into that vacant deep cover position from Shorthouse, takes him to 10, and it takes the RAF to 12 for no loss of wicket. Brings Tasif Ahmed on strike, and we have Nicholas Schofield to continue. This one's straighter, just pushed into the offside there. They thought about a run, but then rightly thought against it.
Not too firm that push. I don't know if taking something off that to give them the opportunity to scamper through for a single, but impossible as it turned out.
Completely agree. Here we go. Schofield to continue. This on the leg side, hits the pad, but outside the leg stump, so no harm of a leg before wicket, and no run either. So that brings the end of the second over, 12 for no loss of wicket. Here's the score. And they're, of course, chasing 150, so 151 to win. And so left are 139 of 108 deliveries.
Some discussions going on at the crease. Is Narayan coming on?
I think we may well be. I think it might be Narayan coming on from the pavilion end.
Certainly his first 3 overs. So his instinct against the Navy were on point.
Here we go. Narayan, this is outside the off stump, and just that was a swat outside the off stump. It was neither a cut nor a drive. It was somewhere in the middle, and it went to the right of extra cover and to the left of mid off, and it raced away to the boundary rope.
Well, Shorthouse hasn't taken long to get his eye in. And,
that takes Shorthouse to 14 off 9 deliveries, and the score 16 for no loss of wicket. Narayan, who bowls probably off about 6 or 8 paces, he walks in casually. That one's short, that one hit over the infield. Will that go all the way? And that has gone all the way over the mid-wicket fielder. They've got no protection on that short boundary on the leg side.
Too short, too wide, punished by Shorthouse, after beating up Narayan's bowling. He's just been punished for 10 off his first 2 balls.
Expensive over so far, just the 2 balls so far. Here we go, this one outside the off stump. That one's slightly faster, slightly quicker. And Shorthouse wasn't able to cut that one away as he wanted to. Just tried to open the face and guide that past backward point. Narayan to continue. This one again, shorter and faster, and that's exactly the shot he tried to play the previous ball. So he tried to guide that between that gap, and they run through for a second run, collected by the Army fielder at third man. And the ball makes its way around the infield. So again, we have on the boundary rope, we have on the offside, we've got a deep cover, we've got a wide long on, and that's about it. Now this ball was straight and again guided to that fielder, but they decide not to run in the end. And in the inner circle, we have a mid-wicket, a square leg, a short fine leg, a short third man, a short backward point, an extra cover, and a conventional mid-off. And Narayan will continue, walks in, and this is slightly straighter, slightly faster. There's a big appeal, but the umpire seems to shake his head.
Shorthouse was concerned though, because he went walkabout. So it was full delivery, struck I think probably on the foot rather than the pad, but obviously outside the line. And I know it's early days, but you get the feeling that as long as Shorthouse is there, RAF have got a chance.
Agreed. And 50% of the runs of the RAF innings so far have come off that previous over from Narayan. His figures off his 1 over with 12 runs and no wicket, and Schofield will continue from the nursery end, and that's pushed into the offside to the backward point fielder. And they run through for a quick single. That takes the score to 25 with no loss of wicket, and Shorthouse back on strike. So the short run-up of the left arm over Schofield. He continues. This one straighter, again pushed into the offside, directly to extra cover, and no run there again. The keeper was pretty happy with that line and length, it seems.
I think he wanted to put it out towards square leg, but it was too full for that. No choice but to push it into extra cover.
And he continues, runs in, bowls. It's outside the off stump, big swipe. It was a drivable length. Goes as far as mid-off. They run through for a single in the end, but you may have heard it through the mic. It wasn't as well connected as you'd like.
He had to rush the shot in the end, a little bit fuller than he was expecting.
Schofield to continue. This one outside the off stump. Big swing, big appeal to the square leg umpire. But hands on heads.
Superb work on the stumps again. We saw it in the previous match. lightning reflexes from behind the stumps, and Blackburn.
It was a stumping opportunity, but it seems Ahmed was well within his crease. Schofield continues. This one heaved into the leg side, over towards the long on region, and picked up by the bowler, by the fielder, and they run through for a second. That one wasn't necessarily the prettiest of cricket shots, but nonetheless it was effective.
Didn't quite time it as he'd like. This as well, because fielder down here and they didn't want to pick it off.
Schofield bowls again. They try to drag that into the offside. It ends up going into the leg side towards that long on fielder again, and they run through for a single. Score now 29 for no loss of wicket. 122 to win off 96 deliveries, and it seems that there'll be a change of bowler from the pavilion end.
Benson, I think, is coming on.
Jake Benson, who plays his club cricket for Lyndon Cricket Club, whose cricketing hero is Jimmy Anderson. And Benson, of course, who was off the very final delivery in the Army's innings, managed to hit it over mid-wicket for 6 into the Tapman stand.
Very casually.
Very casually indeed, yeah. This is Ahmed on strike, who's on 6 as Jake Benson, I was going to say George Benson, not George Benson, Jake Benson turns his arm over to his mate, and now he's ready to bowl. Here we go. This one nice and straight, and just flicked into the leg side. It only goes as far as the long on fielder. They think about a second, but only get a single. That was well picked up there. It almost went over the head of mid-wicket, and he almost seemed to duck.
Just momentarily I thought he was going straight to mid-wicket, and as you say, it just seemed to glide over him.
Shorthouse on strike. He's on 23 off 16 deliveries. Here we go, Benson to continue. This one edged wide of the fielder at point, ends up going to the fielder at third man.
Well, he did well there because it took a huge spin off the surface before it got to him. Outstretched hand stopped it possibly from going for 4.
Ahmed on strike. Benson to continue from the pavilion end. This one goes through everybody, keeper and batter, and that'll be byes. Will it run through for 4? I don't know, not yet. But they do run through for a couple of byes. And we'll see the signal that the umpire gives. Maybe that was runs. I didn't see a signal. Maybe it did take the under edge of the bat.
Scoreboard was tipped over, so it was runs.
I'll count that as runs. Didn't seem to touch anything from up here, but they're a lot closer than we are. Here we go. Benson to continue. Halfway through his over already. The off spinner, nice and straight, and this one flicked into the leg side. Goes to the left hand of the deep mid-wicket fielder, who fields it very agilely. And that's picked up and thrown in. They just get the single. That brings Shorthouse on strike. He's on 24, the score 34 for no loss of wicket. Benson continues this one straight and driven into the offside, only goes as far as the fielder at cover. And again, Ahmed is very keen to back up, which is great, but he's also potentially putting himself in trouble.
We've already seen once this afternoon a direct hit from a distance.
Benson continues this outside the off stump, and actually we couldn't see it because the keeper was in the way, but it's taken his off stump. It's taken Shorthouse's off stump. That one must have turned outside the off stump, went completely through the attempted sweep of Shorthouse. He tried to heave it over to the leg side, and that's knocked the off stump. And he'll be disappointed with that shot.
He will, and it was there to be hit as well. Just mistimed it. I don't know if he played it on. We can't see. We haven't got the benefit of replays. Whether it, as you say, the wicket-keeper Blackburn was in the way, so I don't know whether it was it took a nick off the bat onto the stumps. It was there to be hit, and just didn't get to it. The elbow will feel they've got a real scalp there.
Yeah, we've just managed to see on the replay. Just nipped in down the slope and just took the off stump. There was a big appeal from the keeper.
You can see by their reaction how delighted they are to get rid of Shorthouse. In punishing form up to that point.
He's got off to a good start. And the good news is, Terry, the cloud cover seems to be moving away from us.
I've been reluctant to say it, I have to say, just in case I put the mockers on it.
And the
Your
new,
finger seems to have worked so far.
so far so good. Let's not say something too soon.
We'll only know for sure when the patrons over there in the terrace stand start coming forward again. At the moment they're still undercover.
And the new batter is Fisher, batting at the pavilion end. Bowling is Dearden now from the nursery end. The left arm of Dearden for his first over. That was his first ball of this match. He's bowling left arm round the wicket to the left of the umpire. Again, the field. A short third man, short point. Deep cover, extra cover and mid-off. As he bowls this one straight and just nipped into the leg side high in the air over the 30-yard circle. Bounces short of the fielder running in from deep mid-wicket, who picks it up and throws it into the keeper. But again, that wasn't the most well-timed shot. He probably didn't try and follow through with that for fear of actually reaching that fielder.
Moved his feet well, I think. It didn't come to him as quickly as he expected. That's the reason he just looped up in the air.
Ahmed on strike. He's on 12 runs, and again tries to play a similar kind of shot into the leg side, but that one hits his body.
Good variation of speed from Dearden, which is difficult to pick up.
Dearden continues. Hop and a skip, and this one is played into the leg side again, not timed particularly well. Goes really high over towards the long on boundary and took a check as soon as it bounced. And they run through for another couple of runs. He's tried to play that shot 3 balls in a row now.
I suppose if you're going to give him credit for finding the spaces.
And here we go. Ahmed continues. He's heaved that into the leg side, and that might run away. Or is it? Well, that's an incredible fielding from the fielder at deep mid-wicket. Ahmed's tried to play that shot 3 times into the leg side and was successfully timed that one, at least, over towards the square leg boundary. But the diving mid-wicket fielder managed to save that from going for 4 and managed to save a run for his team.
That was Barley who ran pretty much from forward square leg down to deep backward square leg to stop that from going across the boundary rope. Super fielding.
Dearden continues. This one straight, pushed into the offside and collected by the fielder at point. No run. Fisher is now on strike, but that's the end of the over. That takes number of overs to 6. As the batters have a chat. Middle of the pitch.
We're in the sort of final throes of that grey cloud, the really dark grey stuff. I wonder if we can hang on just a little bit longer. Just like the lighter clouds behind it. And if that is the case, then we might unfettered by weather. Final 14 overs.
I think this is Jake Benson, the tall Jake Benson, continuing from the pavilion end. Off spinner, right arm over. He bowls this one straight, and again Ahmed tries to heave that into the leg side. They get a single for it, but again not well timed.
Seemed reluctant to take off as well, but there it was only when he saw Fisher hurtling towards him and he realised that there was a run on there.
I feel as though that might be his strongest shot, that heave into the leg side. And Benson will continue to Fisher, who's just scratched his guard. Fisher batting at the nursery end. Benson bowling from the pavilion end. And here we go. Nice hop in. This one outside the off stump. He tries to cut that one away, and he does indeed. Doesn't time it quite so well, but that goes into the vacant deep cover region. And it's picked up by the fielder at extra cover.
It's good bounce on the delivery, does Benson, isn't he? He's quite tall. But that looked at first glance to be a little short, but it bounced up.
That was Fisher off the mark. Ahmed now on strike. This one's straighter, and it's driven down the ground, but only goes as far as the fielder at long off, who throws it in. They're working in singles right now.
Yeah, and I mean the run rate just dipped under 7 now. They'll be happy enough with that so far, but they need to move on from here.
Benson continues. This one's straighter, just nudged into the leg side by Fisher, and picked up by the fielder at mid-wicket.
Shorthouse responsible for the high run rate in the first place, so somebody else going to have to take on that mantle.
Again, a 5-4 field on the offside. Benson continues this one, nudged straight back to the bowler. So again, we have a short third man, a point, a deep cover, an extra cover, long off, long on, mid-wicket, and then 2 fielders on the leg side boundary. This is heaved over towards the long on fielder. This might be out. It is out. Ahmed
perfectly, didn't he?
Ahmed tried to heave that over to the leg side, as he's done for the past 8 or 10 deliveries, and once again, unsuccessfully, found the fielder.
On the previous 2 or 3 occasions he tried it, he didn't get enough contact, good enough contact on it to hole out. This time he hit it perfectly and made great contact, and that was to his downfall. As it went straight to Boris in the deep.
We said this in the previous innings, but we've got to be careful with that wickets column, because the Army managed to rack that up quite quickly, and in the end they managed to get to 150. But you've got to keep an eye on that column, because now we've got 2 new batters in.
We found from the we saw, I should say, from the previous match the Army were involved in against Navy, once they put pressure on, they're very good at it.
And that brought an end to Benson's over and brings the left arm of Dearden back bowling from the nursery end. He's bowling left arm round the wicket, left arm orthodox.
Williams has come to the crease and striker's end at the moment.
This is Sam Beals of RAF Benson, not to be confused with the other bowler from the other end.
Twist to be facing Benson.
But this is Fisher on strike. And here we go. Dearden runs in, that'll be a dead ball. I think he just got his run up wrong, but nonetheless, I think the umpires have just called for the ground staff, unfortunately, which means that whilst we can't see it, there must be rain. And yeah, the umpires have just taken the stumps out of the ground. That's a shame, because we are
Suspected a bit of rain, which is why spectators have been backwards in the table stands and go undercover. But a good while ago, I suspect now it's just a bit more persistent. It's been threatening all morning and afternoon.
It has.
It will pass through, because as I said, just now, the really dark stuff is just over us now, but it's actually blowing away. It's a good strength of wind. Hopefully this will be too long a stoppage.
So just a
But I have to
reminder.
say, there is no Douglas. This pass score is 49 currently. The Army are on 45.
With the loss of the wicket, which I believe does increase that DLS pass score. So the score now is 45 for 2 for the RAF. And the RAF, as I say, have lost 2 of their opening batters. So that's Shorthouse, who was bowled by Benson for 24, and Ahmed, who was bowled by Benson again, but caught by Les Porris on the long on boundary just a few balls ago for 19.
You can actually see the rain now coming down, which indicates just how hard it is, because we couldn't see before, but now in front of the scoreboard you can just see.
Yeah, it's pretty evident now.
The rain coming down now.
And for those of you joining us on YouTube, you will be able to see that too. And you'll be able to see what we see, pretty much from our angle, which is that the covers are being extended across the square here at Lord's, which is a shame, because we all want to see a conclusion to this game. And hopefully we do manage to get out there. Hopefully this is temporary, but let's see. Nonetheless, the score is 45 for 2, so 106 to win for the RAF.
And what we have is that sky beyond what we have above us at the minute doesn't look too bad. So if the wind can keep up the strength it is, hopefully it will blow through relatively quickly. But as I said before, I'm rubbish at this weather forecasting lark, so don't take anything I say as it's been any sort of expertise whatsoever.
Now, given we can see it from our position here in the commentary box, that would indicate to me that this is the heaviest rain we've seen so far today.
Yeah. That's absolutely true, and indicated by the fact that the ground staff going out for the extra covers.
Yeah. And that may also indicate to us that the forecast is that this is not a temporary rain delay. But let's see. We're going to stay with you for a short while longer until everyone gets a better answer as to what's going on with the rain forecast. But nonetheless, at the moment, the score is 45-2 with the RAF batting, chasing 150. So 151 to win.
It's a shame. It's been a thoroughly entertaining afternoon and morning here at Lord's. We have said, well, probably shouldn't say this now, but we have a little bit of history with us and rain delays. Our last pairing,
We do.
that when we were together in this commentary box, we also had quite a bit of a downfall.
We did.
I think this is probably the last time they'll ask us.
As I say, I do enjoy commentating with you, Terry, but maybe we're just bad luck together. I don't know. But just a reminder of the games that we've had today. So we had the Armed Forces Women 11 versus the MCC Women 11, in which the Armed Forces won that quite resolutely in the end. It was
comfortable.
It was quite comfortable, wasn't it?
The MCC just didn't get enough runs on the board to put sufficient pressure on the Armed Forces. Ran out fairly comfortable winners. I wouldn't say overly comfortable, but MCC was slightly disappointed they didn't post a troublesome score. And then since then, the Army have taken control.
They have, yeah. The Army have taken control here at Lord's, and what we mean by that is, of course, the British Army 11. They played at about 1:15. We started that this afternoon against the Royal Navy 11, and the Army again won that, and then they continued playing this afternoon at about 4:15. We kicked off for the final game of today, the final T20 game of today.
How frustrated would you be if you're a member of the RAF squad that you've waited to the very end to get on and then get interrupted by this rain delay?
Yeah, it definitely would be frustrating.
Pegs are out, and the weights are coming on to keep the covers in position, so never a good sign.
And the other thing that's telling is that all of the players have moved. They're under those kind of arched shelter dugout areas by the Allen stand, right under the longer scoreboard, right to the left of the pavilion. And they've all moved from there. They've taken all their kit with them, and they've moved back to the traditional changing rooms in the pavilion, which is also a slightly uncomfortable sight, because it tells us that perhaps this rain delay is slightly longer than we want it to be.
I was hoping that the wind might bring it through, but doesn't appear to be doing so at the minute. And we've even shifted direction, which is a bad sign if it has, because to our left-hand side it's continuing the grey, whereas sort of ahead and to our right is some nice clear skies.
As we say, we will stay with you for a short while longer, and we'll keep you updated as and when we hear more, and as and when we can see more. For those of you listening to us, for those of you joining us on YouTube at Forces News, thank you very much, as I say, for joining us. You'll be able to see what we see, which is annoyingly a lot of rain. But for those of you joining us on the MCC website, on the Lord's website, again, thank you for joining us. But you won't be able to see what we're seeing, but we can only describe it for you, which is a lot of rain, unfortunately, and extra covers coming out right across the square here at Lord's. We've got the hover cover, which is covering the main pitch today, and the rest of the covers covering the rest of the square, as well as the bowlers' run-ups, which is not what we wanted to see. We want to see a conclusion to this game.
So I'm not sure at what point they make a decision as to how this will be concluded, depending on how quickly the rain can clear.
And for those of you listening who want to get in touch, for whatever reason, I don't know, tell us your worst rain delay. I don't know why you'd want to get in touch at this point, but get in touch anyway.
If you're better weather forecasters than we've been so far, tell us what to expect.
Exactly, it's ballbyball@mcc.org.uk. And of course, just a reminder, we're also back here. Us as a commentary team are back here tomorrow at Lord's, in which we will keep everything crossed for better weather. And it's the Oxford-Cambridge game.
The forecast is for better, but we'll see. I don't think the forecast that we've been looking at so far are entirely accurate. Although, to give us some credit, earlier on today we were expecting this sort of rain to come a little bit sooner than it has.
I think we've been quite lucky so far, haven't we?
On a decision. Everybody around Lord's scampering around to try and understand what will happen from here on in, the options that they have.
And as you say, we'll give you as much information as we have as and when we get it. But right now, unfortunately, all we can see is that the covers are being rolled out across the square here at Lord's, which is not what we wanted. But we've been lucky, I guess, with the weather, because it was forecast to rain the whole afternoon, and we haven't had that. We had a little bit of rain earlier, but this seems like it's the bulk of the rain now.
It's lulled us into a false sense of security. Thought we got away with it. Because to our left-hand side, towards the tavern and main stand, almost goes all the way. Not quite.
We have an Ashes summer this year, Terry.
We do, looking forward to that.
Especially after the last Ashes series. I'm
Well,
looking
yeah, I
forward
don't
to
know,
it too.
yeah, I don't know if I'm looking forward to it more because I think we actually have a chance this time around, whereas we haven't in previous Ashes encounters. Well, that's how it seems, at least.
To all our listeners out there and the people that are viewing our coverage, we're actually in the JP Morgan Media Centre. Some of you who have seen the YouTube coverage may have seen. We have a team of us here today. And we actually commentate from the Test Match Special commentary box, which is right in the centre of the media centre, which gives us a great view of the centre of the square, which is where they will be playing Ashes cricket here at Lord's this summer. And I know that for cricket fans across the country, this will be a big summer for everybody. And there's a lot of talk about the new style of cricket, Test cricket, that England have been playing with Bazball, with Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum.
The level of excitement, I think, is that is currently around the England team is not like it's been for a while. I think it's been, probably back in the days of Flintoff was playing and Botham was playing, that you had that level of excitement, but it's back, and it's a testament to Bazball, as you say, and the way that England are going about their task in every game. It's not just the pick and choose which games you go at. They just play the same style every time, and at the moment at least it seems to be working.
I think this will be the hardest opponent that England will have faced so far in this Bazball era. We played New Zealand last year, we played South Africa, we played Pakistan, and we played India, who I believe had just played only the one Test match before playing against England, and therefore...
Are you playing down, Archie? Are you trying to be sort of cautious to not build your hopes up? Is that what you're doing?
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, look, it's an Ashes series, so the Australians will be up for it, regardless of what form they're in coming into it. You know that an Ashes series is unlike any other, and so you can almost throw the form book out the window, because the Aussies tend to raise their game for such things.
There is a different sense of passion when it comes to Ashes cricket, and I, for one, can't wait for it.
Absolutely.
I'm very excited. But nonetheless, as you would have seen if you're joining us on YouTube, it is rain stop play at Lord's, unfortunately. And for those of you joining us on audio commentary, we will keep you updated as and when we know anything. And to our right hand side, over, I believe that's North London, unfortunately we have completely blue skies, but right overhead we have the greyest of grey clouds.
Annoyingly close, that blue sky, isn't it?
It is.
Frustrating. It's lightened up a touch here, so I don't know if that's a little tempt fate. Even the pigeons have run for cover.
That's never a good sign, is it? But I'll tell you what we'll do. This doesn't look like it's going to be going away anytime soon.
Well, even if it stops now, of course, the covers have got to come off yet, so it's still be a little bit of a delay, even if it does stop.
So please do stay tuned. If you are free, if you're cooking on your Wednesday night and you've got nothing better to do, nothing better to have on, please do have the YouTube on. That would be great. And we will give you a heads up as and when play resumes here at Lord's. And if you're joining on audio, keep it on in the background. Why not?
Also frustrating, the wind doesn't seem to be blowing nearly as hard as it was, so the cloud is not shifting across at any rate that you'd expect it to disappear quickly, and therefore give us an opportunity for the players to come back out quickly. So the grey cloud that has settled itself above Lord's doesn't seem to be moving away at any great speed at the minute.
Unfortunately not. As I say, we will keep you informed as and when we hear anything here at Lord's. But just a reminder of the score. So the Army hit 150 for 8 in the final game of today, the final T20 game of today, and the RAF are now 45 for 2, chasing that total of 150, so 151 to win, so 106 runs needed. We will keep you informed as and when we hear anything, but for now we'll come off air, and as and when play resumes, or as and when there's an update, we will come back on air and inform you.
Well, as you can see, we had some persistent rain. The umpires have decided that the game now abandoned, the game has ended. The result is that the Army won by 4 runs under BFBS calculations. Great change, the game is coming to an exciting finish.
Right, so unfortunately, in the saddest of ways, this inter-services tournament has ended here in typical British summer conditions in the rain here at Lord's. But I can tell you that it's been decided that the Army have won by 4 runs by the Duckworth-Lewis method. I'm not even going to try and explain that to you if you're not a cricket fan, but it is a way of deciding matches that end like this. It's been a brilliant day for the Army. The RAF were absolutely hammering the ball to try and get their DLS score up before the game ended, but the rains ended it, the heavens opened, but we have it. Army are again reigning champions and now 2023 champions. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great day. Sad to finish this way, but we do have a winner, and it is the Army. Congratulations to them. We'll see you again soon.